Okay, let me ask you a question, and I really want you to be completely honest with yourself here. Think about the very last time someone insulted you, maybe doubted your capabilities, or just desperately tried to drag you into their petty, exhausting drama. Do you have that moment in your head? Good. Now, what exactly did you do? Did you fire back? I mean, did you sit there glaring at your screen, burning precious hours trying to craft the absolute perfect, most devastating defensive reply? Or maybe you just completely exhausted yourself trying to logically explain your side of the story to someone who is, let's face it, totally committed to misunderstanding you. Well, here is the hard truth. If you did, you lost. Every single time you react to someone who just doesn't matter, you aren't being strong and you aren't standing up for yourself. You are literally handing over the remote control of your emotions to somebody else. You are giving away a massive piece of your peace, your focus, and your power. But today, in this explainer, we are going to completely break that loop. We're diving into a playbook inspired by history's coldest political strategists. And look, this isn't about being cruel, it's about becoming completely untouchable. Section 1. The Inner Fortress, Guarding Your Mental Vault. Okay, let's dive into this. Before we even talk about strategy in the outside world, we have to look inward. Most people out there, they operate entirely on autopilot. They're the amateur. They treat their attention like free water, just spilling it for anyone who asks. A hater leaves a comment, boom, they reply. A toxic acquaintance creates a totally avoidable crisis, they instantly jump in to fix it. But real power players move entirely differently. They treat their attention like gold. Before you ever engage with anyone, you literally have to ask yourself, what is the return on this investment? And that brings us to this really fascinating concept, emotional bankruptcy. If a person brings absolutely nothing to your life but toxic noise, your response has to be bankruptcy, a total, uncompromising deficit of your attention. You do not need to explain your absence. You don't owe them some graceful transition period. You simply close the gate. You starve the noise. To actually pull this off effectively, you have to build an armor of indifference. Think of your emotional triggers as tiny cracks in that armor. If someone can make you angry with just a single, well-placed sentence, they own you, right? Now, indifference doesn't mean you're some cold robot who doesn't feel anything. It means you choose exactly who and what gets the privilege of activating those emotions. When you stop defending your reputation to people who just don't matter, you seal those cracks. You become entirely unmanipulable. Section 2. The Arsenal. Deploying the weapon of silence. Silence isn't surrender. It is the most aggressive move you can make. Now, we are constantly taught that the person with the last word wins. But honestly, that is a complete lie designed for fools. When you argue with someone, you validate them. You are actively telling them, hey, your opinion is important enough to disrupt my entire day. But absolute silence? It denies them the one thing they desperately crave, validation. It leaves them standing in a vacuum, basically talking to a brick wall. It tells them they do not even register on your radar. So how do we actually apply this? Well, amateurs often confuse power with just running away and isolating themselves, acting like a hermit. But true power is strategic withdrawal. You are physically present, but emotionally unavailable. Look, if you're always available, always texting back in 3 seconds, always dropping everything for everyone else, you just become a predictable background feature. People take you for granted. But by strategically withdrawing your presence, you introduce a massive psychological variable, uncertainty. Make your time scarce and watch how quickly the world starts treating it as valuable. This creates what's called the chaos of the unanswered puzzle. It's wild because the human brain is practically hardwired to demand closure. So here's how it plays out. First, you ignore their attack. Second, their brain completely panics because it lacks that closure. Third, they start creating these wild narratives in their head, wondering if you saw it, if you're plotting something, or if you simply just don't care. They end up fighting a literal war against their own imagination. And fourth, you are just moving forward, completely unbothered. You win the battlefield without ever actually having to step onto it. It's incredibly efficient.
Section 3. The Ascension, Rising Above the Noise.
Now, what's really interesting about this slide is how we execute quiet, permanent erasure. There are 3 specific types of toxic people you just need to erase from your mental bandwidth. First up, the hidden saboteurs. The trap here is trying to expose them or prove they lied. The strategy? Ignore them. Let your undeniable success do the exposing for you. Second, the professional critics. The trap is getting defensive and trying to change their minds. But remember, they feed on your reactions, so you starve them.
And finally, the energy parasites. The trap is feeling incredibly guilty for not fixing their endless crises, but they don't actually want solutions. They just want an audience. The strategy? Cut the feed.
And so, what is the absolute highest leverage move when dealing with all of these people? 0. That is exactly the amount of defense your truth actually needs. We're conditioned to think that doing something is always better than doing nothing. But calculated inaction is a real game changer. When rumors spread, let them. The truth simply does not require a defense attorney.
Keep running your own race. If someone tries to copy you or unfairly compete with you, whatever you do, do not look over your shoulder to check their speed. Just keep running your own race. While the rest of the world exhausts itself fighting these fake battles, chasing empty validation, and reacting to petty drama, you are preserving your precious fuel to build a real, lasting legacy.
Because this right here is the ultimate paradigm shift. You do not ascend in this life by stepping on other people. You ascend by outright refusing to descend to their level. You become the untouchable sovereign. You are highly selective with your presence. You are lethal with your silence. And you are utterly untouchable in your focus.
From this moment forward, you move differently. So I'll leave you with this one final thought. Are you ready to own your focus? If you are finally ready to stop giving away your power to people who just don't matter, leave a comment below saying, "I own my focus." Thank you so much for joining me for this explainer. Keep your armor strong, and I'll see you next time.